All right, guys, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, and welcome to today's episode of the Market Compass, right? Our weekly Market Compass. And I'm going to be discussing as many assets as I can, majorly the DXY, the majors, the USDJPY, and metals and the indices, the index. So before we go into that, let's look at the news release we have, or the news, red folder news we have for this week. On Monday, being tomorrow, we have CAD CPI by 2:30 p.m. So those of you who trade anything related to CAD and gold, I think the Canadian dollars also move gold markets. So anything related to CAD, gold, pay close attention to that. 2:30 p.m. You want to pay close attention to that. Then on Tuesday we have GBP climate count change, 8 a.m. and then by 10:45 a.m. we also have GBP Bank of England. So Wednesday again on that GBP CPI. So I think this week is GBP, right? And then we have President Trump's speech on that same Wednesday. So we keep an eye on Wednesday. There are going to be so many sporadic movements in the market. On Thursday, we have AUD, USD, and NZD related red folders. On Friday, JPY. I love trading JPY policy rates. JPY monetary policy rates. I love trading it. It's one of my best things to trade. It's easier to predict. It's easier to see where it's coming from, how it's going. It's easier to track. So I really look forward to make so much on Friday with the JPYs. All right. So having said that, let's go straight into the chart and see what we can potentially expect for the week. Starting with the dollar index. All right. Starting with the dollar index, I would always begin on the weekly time frame. I remember in the last video, last week video, I didn't upload it, right? I'm sorry about that. It was just with the community, or with the private community that we had this session, and I was telling them how last week we should see a price action into these levels. This was our target for the week, including these supply and demand levels. I'm so sorry for not uploading that to you all, making it shortly available for you all. But that was exactly the bias we had. So I told them, keep an eye, we should see some sells into this weekly candle and buys into that levels. So, and that was exactly what we got. So weekly time frame analysis, 4 hours time frame evidence, like I taught them in that call. Weekly time frame analysis, 4 hours time frame evidence. This was exactly the support and resistance levels that these guys came into, and they resumed the buys. I think there should be an imbalance, exactly. So that is it. So this is the imbalance that these guys came to. They tapped right into this imbalance, also in alignment to some of the support and resistance levels. And that was where we saw Monday reject from, and then we got bullish Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So now this week, I'm going to also be anticipating a bearish dollar for the week. I'm actually, the goal last week was a buy to sell situation. So if we're anticipating a bearish dollar now, let me release all these levels or delete all these levels. That means one of our easy targets for this week is going to be this week low or previous weekly lows, and also the lows right here. Okay, so those are our drawn liquidity for a bearish week. I mentioned the fact that, okay, we have been seeing overall bearish price action on these guys, and it looks as though we want to resume. If you turn to line charts, it's as though we want to resume that bearish lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and potential continuation. So, but then aside that, we looked at fundamentals also last week. So there are some fundamentals that really caught our attention, suggesting that we might be seeing bearishness on the dollar or weakness on the dollar soonest. And that is one of the things that is majorly keeping us interested in the sales of this dollar. So by the time the new weekly candle is open, all we are going to be waiting for is a 4 hours adjustment, just 4 hours. Weekly time frame analysis, we want to wait for at the open of that week, once the weekly candle open, right above the open, once you can see a 4 hours evidence of distribution, please, that will be our sell for the week. Okay, so on the 4 hours time frame, and let me see the daily time frame, if there's anything interesting there, and no major thing interesting already. The imbalance we are looking out for, price has captured it already. So typically, and we are right at that zone. Okay, this is exactly where I'll be looking out for. So maybe you can pay attention to the imbalance levels right here. So what that will mean is, if you can get on Monday some bullish price action that will capture these lows and get that 4 hour shift in structure. Immediately you see that 4 hour shift in structure, just sell. Just know that, you see, even looking at this, you can see clean trend line liquidity sort of. All right, we have this beautiful trend line liquidity dynamic liquidity that price could be very much attracted to. So I'm bearish on these guys, and these are the levels that I want to see them close above into this imbalance, and we'll start selling to the downside. So keep your eyes on that on the dollar index. What this is going to mean also for us is a bullish GBP USD. I mentioned these levels for them on GBP USD. This was the levels I was majorly concerned about on GBP USD. So, but let's still keep an eye on these levels. Bullish, maybe we might clear these lows on Monday and then begin to get that bullish price action to capture some of those highs that we have here on GBP USD. So just like what we have on the DXY, just the opposite, right? Bearish, if we're expecting bearish DXY, I'm expecting bullish Euro USD and bullish GBP USD. All right, so this is it. Euro USD is even already at that imbalance, whereas DXY is yet to come into the imbalance, showing that there's already a divergence. If you look at this, there's a divergence. Euro USD is creating lower lows. GBP USD did not create lower lows. They did not create lower. They're busy creating higher highs, and dollar index is also creating lower lows. So it's this divergence that Coach Tony, I learned from Coach Tony many years back, and it's still very, 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 very much important. It plays, it works. Even if you look at Euro USD play on the 1 hour time frame, I'm not teaching divergence here, just something that I saw out of the blues, and I thought to myself, okay, maybe my eyes just spotted it. It's not part of my checklist, all right? I've not even looked at the quarter points now, if you paid attention. So I've not talked about quarter point levels yet. But if you look at this 15 minutes time frame, this was on Friday, you see this divergence here that led to this sell that tapped right, reacted right from this imbalance, right? Or these key levels. So if you look at the divergence here, Euro USD was creating higher highs and they sold heavily, but GBP USD on that same Friday, they failed to create the higher highs or are reacting from also an imbalance. So that is typically almost the kind of divergence that is already beginning to happen on Euro USD and GBP USD. So I don't know if GBP USD will still want to come down low to clear here to start buying. If they do, fine. If they don't, I'm paying close attention to these levels. On the 4 hours, we've not gotten a clean 4 hours break. So to be sweet for me to see the sweep of these levels, then 4 hours break of structure to start buying all the way to the upside. Now, if you correlate with this with what we have on the quarter point levels, Euro USD, we are at a major area of supply, support and resistance. All right, we have, look at this. Can you see this? So I've taught you guys about my quarter point support and resistance level plays, and we are at a major area of quarter point support and resistance levels, which could signal a potential sign for reversal. So all we are waiting for now is a clean alignment in structure, and we'll start taking our buys to the upside. All right, just a clean alignment in structure, and that will be our buy call. For GBP USD, where exactly are we? We are also at a very critical level, but this will be, yes, this is it. We also look at these zones there. You can see all these touches here, right? So we are also at a very critical supply and demand levels based on the quarter point. So we might also be paying close attention to the levels around here for some reversals in the market. So pay close attention to that. We should be getting that also. On the dollar index, I think I mentioned, yes, I mentioned this level 2 weeks ago, but then this is the most recent levels here. And we are also at a major area of supply and demand based on the quarter point level. So I would want to keep an eye on that. So having said that, let's look at the USJPY. So for the USJPY on the weekly time frame, I'm also anticipating a bearish price action. I'm anticipating a bearish price action. We swept these highs. I spoke about these highs also sometime last week on the call, that we should keep pay attention that even if we're going to sell the GBP JPY, I wouldn't want to see price just sell off from where it is, where they opened. I'd want to see this high traded first into this imbalance before we start selling to the downside. On that thing again, that really caught my attention was the support, the quarter point levels, right? Quarter point support and resistance levels, that even if we're going to, we didn't even get there. We didn't get to that particular quarter point support and resistance levels, but then I'm pretty much sure that we will get some sell-off into these levels. I'm just pretty much sure of that. Let me see the daily time frame. I'm pretty much sure. I like the way the daily is closing here. I'm pretty much sure that we are going to get a play, typically just more like this, maybe to the open of this candle, and that will be our sell-off to this zone into this imbalance. before we start considering any other major buys. So I am bearish on these guys. And where will I be looking for potential bearish continuations? I would want to see bearish continuations from the entire of this move. So keep an eye on this zone. On USDJPY, we might see price coming to these levels straight. Easy targets are going to be these lows right here. So I'll be watching these levels for USDJPY. For GBP JPY, that we have so many news. All right, I'm expecting much more. A whole lot now. If we're going to be anticipating bullish GBP USD, GBP JPY, you need to be very careful with this. In short, I'll be staying off from GBP JPY. I'll be staying off from GBP JPY for the week. I'll be staying off from NAS and US30 for this week. I don't think I have anything majorly on NAS and US30. They're not really of much interest to me this period. I don't know why. So I don't have an analysis on these guys. For NAS, they are in a range. I really want them to break out of this range. Since January this year, we've been just within this particular range. Nothing clear yet. If you see on the daily time frame, we've just been within here. Do they want to buy to all-time highs or not? I don't know. So we are just watching what price is doing here. I need to see either a clear break of these levels. So it's either we break above or we break below for me to gain clarity on what next to do regarding NASDAQ. Same thing with US30. We created all-time highs, but we've been dancing. Look at it. For the past how many days, we've just been dancing within here. And it's not something that is of good interest to me. So I'll be staying off of the US30 also. Now for gold, the only thing I'm not looking out for gold is for potential bearish opportunities. I even had to mark this out, right? I want to see gold trade even if it is into this gap, or just give us some more bearish price action again before we start attempting to see a bullish continuation. So these are the levels I'm interested in. I'm seeing these levels as this, where we got these highs. Okay, it's going to be these highs, these lows, lower highs, lower lows. That means this highs is going to be a very clear liquidity. I will be careful. I'll be careful playing these levels because of these levels here. Looking at structure, this was where the main break came. So I'll be careful playing these levels. I would want to prefer playing the one above for more bearish price action. So I'm bearish on gold, and let's see what we can get. Initially, I was looking at this, thinking that, okay, maybe somehow we mitigated off from this. So I was looking at these levels before for more bearish continuation, since overall we are bullish. So we might get that deep retracement for the sell or not. Price might just choose to retrace from here. I'll wait for the 1 hour time frame to confirm. Let the 1 hour time frame, if you can close above these highs and the 1 hour give me a clean break, that is when I will consider playing this. If it takes SL, sorry about that. If it takes my SL, no problem. I'll wait for them just right above there. So let's see what we can potentially get on the market with this. All right. So having said that, that is all I'll be looking out for. Updates on this particular trades, I will be sharing them with us. So trade safe, clap easy, don't blow your account this week. We have some red folder news. Be patient. Allow the market to come to you. Don't trade counter trends. Don't, based on the weekly analysis, don't try to catch a sell to buy scenario. If you're looking to buy for the week, wait for buying, clear buying positions, and you buy only. If you're looking to sell for the week, wait for clear selling positions only, and you take your sales. On Wednesday, we review the market's performance so far. And then by Wednesday, we can now tell, okay, are we sticking with our buying momentum of buying bias, or are we going to eventually shift to a bearish bias? So Wednesday is that perfect time. At least Monday price action has come, Tuesday price action, we've seen it. Then on Wednesday, we'll determine whether we want to look at taking place like that, or in continuation with the bias we have, or if we're going to have a change in bias. All right, so having said that, stay tuned, stay jiggy, clap easy, don't blow your account, and trade safe. See you guys when next we meet. The link to my Telegram channel is going to be dropped in the description box. I'll be sending updates regarding the trades and this trade review in the Telegram channel. So cheers and God bless, guys. Shalom, shalom. See you on the next one. Bye, guys.